Hello, everybody.
Hello, welcome to a conversation that needs to happen.
hmm
We need to talk about how to live in the light while balancing the dark.
Yeah, so today we're going to dive into the conversation. We're going to share a transmission sheet, see what other messages also come through in regards to this. But Esther and I were definitely feeling the sense of more deeply understanding our foundations in our darkness, our beliefs around it, also our ability to begin honoring and respecting ourselves in the process, which takes being able to see these different aspects of ourselves. And the integration process brings about
Mm.
balance of this light, of this dark, and it requires you to take responsibility of your energy, of your choices, of your life. So, yeah, I'm excited to
Absolutely. Yes, I feel like it's worth noting that me and Ara, right before this, we're kind of talking about some of the darker parts of life that came up and how we were, coping with them, how we were dealing with them, processing them. And I think that will be a great place to start, really opening up the dialogue and having that window that as light workers, as beings that are here to bring light and harmony and balance to Earth, we're also human, and things can be frustrating at times. They can cause the darker energy within us to be brought to light. And I think it's worth just acknowledging, that we're human, and if you also feel that things in your life have been a bit of a struggle or you're noticing the darkness, then, feel free to share in the comments below and we'll take a moment to share what darkness has come up for us and what that looks like.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll share it quickly as we're all reminiscing and allowing ourselves to reflect on what's coming up. Recently I've been moving through a lot of different darker aspects of myself coming up, especially in relations. So within my relationships, how I'm seeing that I am in connection with certain people in my life, like my family, um, and also just others as well. I was really seeing recently, and we didn't talk about this particularly, Esther, but I've been recently seeing how my sense and need from control, which is something that I've worked with my inner child, recognizing that this has been a deep program for me, is like wanting to have that sense of control. And
Mhm.
I'm at a place in my life where I have a choice to continue to move forward with that comfortability of like trying to grasp and hold on deeply for control in whatever way possible in my life and in my relationships, or to actually surrender and let like the walls crumble. So I was actually meeting with my inner child today, and she was just like running and dancing and doing all these fun little things. She was like, not a care in the world. And I was like, I need someone, I need comfort, I need like I need to hold everything together. I need to
Mm.
have it all together. And
Mm.
today was just this huge reminder. Even my co-star app was like, all right, time to let go, time to let things crumble. So this is my deep practice of like letting myself be in this darkness, to be in that anxiousness, that nervousness that comes up. And I got to work with my inner child to see how I can start seeing that nervousness and that anxiousness as that wall crumbling and revealing something completely unknown, something that is, allowing me to feel a sense of relaxation and just like lightness. Like I could feel heavy and light at the same time. So I feel like that's really resonant to what we're talking about with the balance, is that like I could feel both. I could feel that sense of
Mm.
nervousness and that excitement. I could feel that sense of like, oh, I'm still moving through these programs and letting them release in their own divine time through my actions and my choices and my energy. But also, this is that opportunity where I'm also feeling, yeah, the beauty in the process and
Mm.
letting myself see that. And I feel like sometimes when we're in deep darkness, we don't always let ourselves see the beauty. We want to be fully immersed in it. And the beauty is also that darkness. So, yeah, that has been one I experienced recently.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you tied into the inner child and the freedom that also that higher part of you is kind of like, I need to make sure our ducks are all in a row, but you keep moving the ducks. This is not duck, duck, goose. It's really interesting, and I definitely resonate with that a lot, that sense of control. In so many aspects, I feel like, of course, control, it equals like safety, it equals power, it equals
Mhm.
this aspect that we know how to use what we're given.
Yeah.
But sometimes like we don't actually know. I think darkness for me lately has been popping up a lot with like social standards that I'm seeing. Okay, I'm a woman of color. I went to like this horticulture conference. This is a little story, and I there was only one other woman of color there out of over 150 people. It's so interesting how the like just systemic, just the tide of like the suppression that I felt, and even what they were sharing, how there was this one presentation titled Planting with a Purpose, and it was this old white dude, not to be biased or anything, but he did not talk at all about the plant's purpose, the medicine that they have to the land, how they are nurturing shelter. He just shared pretty pictures of plants, and a lot of them were actually invasive, harmful plants to our part of the region. It was
Wow.
just so disconnected. And there was this thing within me that just felt so angry. And it's definitely something that I'm noticing. Like the darker part of myself right now that's been coming up a lot is this anger, this sense of injustice, and this feeling of helplessness. Like, what can I do about it? Like, this is a lot older than my human body. It's been going on a lot longer. There's a lot more at play than I probably even know of. And so it's hard to find peace and surrender and to shed light when it's an ugly thing to look at. And it's something that I feel like when I do acknowledge it, I feel this anger and this like frustration for not knowing how to change it. And again, that idea of control, like I can't control it. I can't change it. It's something that's kind of out of my hands. And that's been coming up so much, right? Like, oh, I want to do good, but you know, is this actually doing good? And at the end of the day, I realized that my heart just started to sing a song the other day, and it was just like, surrendering is your strength. You have to be strong to surrender. And I'm still grappling and understanding the depth of that meaning, that sometimes the most powerful thing I can do when it comes to darkness is surrender, is not to like fight it, is not to like wail my hands in the darkness when I don't really know exactly like the entirety of where I am or what I'm doing, but to actually like take a step back and sit down and really surrender and understand that doesn't mean that you've given up, that you're letting the darkness overcome you, but you're just giving yourself that space to retrieve that inner light, and that's what's been coming up. I think, ooh, crazy. That inner
That's
light.
beautiful. Yeah, I love the way that you shared everything. And I've recently been moving through a belief as well, that I realize is deeply connected to like my ancestors, like about, certain people being in spaces and the privilege that they have to be in these spaces where a
Mhm.
lot of us people of color, you know, I was feeling that sense of anger and injustice because it's like, how are we to get to these spaces that are literally in connection to our ancestors? So I was feeling like a lot of that. And a lot of that's been like everything that you're sharing, the anger and like and wanting to like know what to do, but there's not necessarily much you can do. Like we can educate and talk to people and bring awareness, but like we cannot reshape someone. Like
Yeah.
that is not our job to reshape someone. And I'm excited for us to like really begin to explore what that medicine of surrender is and to play with that and to feel that because I think it yeah, I think that it is very much a part of that sense of balance that we are seeking, especially as this is coming up. And I want to remind everyone that the anger is like a beautiful emotion to have, especially when we feel it that deep. Within the course that I'm running, that's like a big thing that we're all moving through is this anger, this sense of injustice, it's coming up very, very strongly in so many different aspects of our lives and of our memories,
Mm.
beyond our own human being self. So we get to use that and its energy for in a healthy way for, creation. We get to allow ourselves to hold those parts of ourselves, especially if it's like ancestral and it's deeply rooted in our communities and our cultures and our religions and like the pains and the traumas and the programs and the beliefs that have been held here. So yeah, I think I just want to remind everyone, if anyone else is feeling this, because we are too, hold yourself, like really hold yourself. Give your that anger some space. Recognize when it's gone too far. Nourish your body as much as you can. The more that you nourish your body, you're nourishing your ancestors. You're letting them know, like, hey, I got this. We're trying this surrender. We're trying this balance. We're trying this honoring of our gifts, this respect of our energy right now, and how it is that we can show up and trusting that the people and the places and the communities and the moments are going to be here to support us and showing up to actually make a difference and a change,
Mm.
because we already are. The more every little step that we're taking to say, okay, yes to our hearts is that change. So thank you so much, Esther, for sharing all your experience and the gold that you're sharing and such important things. So we're excited to hear
Yeah.
what is coming up for y'all.
Yeah, you
And
better
mhm,
you better type that down below. And thank you, Arya. I think, yeah, like you said, I still feel a little level of shame with anger. And I think it's just, again, the way from lots of lifetimes of past things that have happened, and even this lifetime training the inner child has been something that has been seen as destructive, even though it can be really constructive if directed properly. And I think that kind of ties with when it comes to balancing the light and the dark, how to do that. And it's like, I'm totally gonna butcher the Bible verse, but it's pretty much like a man who can control their emotions is fit to be set before a king. Totally butchered that. But the idea is that the spirits that flow through you, like they're gonna be flowing through you. We're channeled. That's a part of the human experience. Being able to govern them and have discernment with how you allow them to flow through you and how you allow that expression to unfold, that is a really powerful thing. And so that kind of leads me to the next question of how, what does balancing the light and the dark look like? How do you leverage those darker emotions, those aspects that we try to keep hidden away, to help amplify the light or bring the light, just balancing them in general? What does that look like?
mhm, yeah. And I really like want to invite people as well, like how does that feel as well? Because when we're working with emotions and as channels, like we're utilizing our felt sense, this sense that, some people will say like a sixth sense, but really this is that sense that our body naturally has. And we may not realize when we're picking up on things and why emotions maybe coming up sometimes. Maybe we do, and we kind of shame ourselves and push it away. And I think that this really goes into understanding our relationship to ourselves, understanding our relationship to our emotions. Like, what is our relationship to anger? If you're seeing that we're suppressing it because we feel like we shouldn't be angry, why is that? Like, go there. That's
Mm.
the darker places we can go to then bring ourselves into illuminating what has been hidden, what we're choosing to hide either subconsciously or consciously. So I feel like that work of really regaining, like you're saying, governance over ourselves, responsibility of our actions takes actually looking at why we did the things that we did, giving ourselves love for that, giving ourselves acceptance for that, letting ourselves let things be released, in their time as we begin to make choices that align with our values, that align with, what it is that we're working toward, our dreams. So that governance, that responsibility that we begin to take back we are then bringing ourselves into balance. And I think it's important to recognize, where is that balance for you? It looks
Mm,
different for all of us. Like our light and dark is not going to look the same to the next person. So that's
mhm,
why I always suggest, like, what are your core values? Because this will give you that baseline to, bring these things back into your heart, because that's where our values live, is within our heart. So I'm curious, Esther, if you have
oh my
anything to
gosh,
add to that
yeah.
question.
There's a couple of things I'm going to touch on what you said last first, because the core values is so interesting. This is so random, but earlier today I was eating breakfast and I saw a video from Doshi, pretty famous, just won a Grammy. It's like from 5 years ago. She has a YouTube channel and the title was like Your Core Values, what you actually give a F about. And I listened to it and she shared her core values and it still resonates very true, I think, today with her journey as a creative artist and what she creates and how she chooses to create it, especially with all of the pressure of having millions of people following you and listening to you and critiquing you.
Mhm,
And she shared some interesting stuff about timing. And this has to tie with the second thing you shared about letting things go in their time, not forcing them to be let go before it's time, not holding on when that time comes. And she just shared, her creative process being the fact that she has to do and create for her when it's time. Her audience may not understand, they may be demanding more, but she has to stick true to the timing of the way that she said it, the encounter, really encountering the emotions that she wants to convey in her music. And I found that just really, resonant and aligned with the idea of core values and how for her, her value was completion, bringing something to completion. And yeah, core values are interesting. I think it's worth to say that sometimes you may resonate with them more than others. Like they can change a little bit. That doesn't mean that, one day you're like, honesty, and then the next day you're like, actually, I switched 100%. Yeah, it's lies now. My core value are lies, right? Like, no, but it's almost like a building block. Like you
mhm,
may find that you resonate more with one at a certain time, and that holds the key for you to move forward. And I think for myself, when it comes to balancing the light and the dark and finding those values, like I need the darkness. I didn't really value surrender until I felt this frustration and realized the only thing I can do is stop stressing myself out and just surrender. Like this is not my battle. And that brings a lot of clarity. And so, again, like I didn't really value the idea of ease. I thought it was lazy until I'm realizing, wow, I was rushing. And actually, ease is amazing. I need to slow down in order to find a good flow, to listen to the rhythm. And that has been a beautiful aspect of why the darkness has been so important for the light and that balance and tying into core values, that last note of letting go in, due time, I realized that my heart has been holding on to stuff, and it's almost like grief when I realize it's time to let it go. And that is a familiar feeling, I think, to like everything. Everything that is alive will have to go through the cycle of life. Uh, but it also still feels like kind of scary and dark and unknown, even though there's that beautiful aspect that this is the moment where matter actually cycles through itself. It's reborn again in a new form. And so grief has been a really interesting value, I guess, for me, where I find that balance between the light and the dark, because it ties into this feeling of like you can be gentle. You're letting go of things that you may have really thought were going to be with you forever. And you realize that forever is a continuous cycle of moments that are going to end. So, like the heart just wanted to share that. It's been a moment of like, it knows it has to clear its stuff out. Like, it can't be holding on to all of this, whether regardless if I think like, "Oh, this is all light, this is all pretty." It needs to welcome in the darkness again so that it can be illuminated. So, yeah, we're feeling that flow. We're feeling into it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, yes, yes. And once again, we would love to hear if anyone wants to share as well in the comments how you have been, utilizing and understanding that sense of balance in your own life. We each have such medicine that we can offer, yes, to ourselves, but also to others in this expression. So we appreciate you. And this is also why we hold the Soul Resonance Support Group once a month. So if you would like to be in these spaces to connect in this way, have these types of conversations that are resonant to where we are at currently, to feel supported in community, to share your gifts, to receive energy aligning light language transmissions, then we invite you. But yeah, Esther, what do you feel about doing a transmission? See what comes through.
Absolutely. I think that it would be a beautiful way to close and, again, check, all the information for the support group is right below. I definitely feel like deep in my heart, this is, yeah, an excitement for the heart. Like my heart is literally right now the one that is speaking and where the channeling is coming from, and I'm really thankful and I'm excited. How we can balance those aspects of ourselves to fluctuate and find that harmony.
Mm.
Taking a breath and really breathing out so we can find that fullness as we inhale. Kusiham laki kiyam amiham lakiyo si aku
Kamiru. 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 Nuku'u, 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 nakia masin kian. Angambala sirahi I sirahi ikatos, 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 ekiam. Anda I salahata shiraku sirahipu utuku shirahi latian. Anakia sharahya, sharahya, sharahya. Koroshun, dogoshun, dogoshun, dogoshun. Kashuko, suto, shukua, shu, 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 shu.
likolika pandri tahua india to kishkudunde de doroshovi mikatata ido sonalitro toku singre singtibatia elektroshovium. Breathing from your solar plexus, bringing it up to the heart. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Mhm.
Karahia la tierra koshora kiana tu ulta kaparayan. Anahi I katasia la tierra kogo sharahi sarahi sarahi.
Mm.
I want to invite us all to settle in to our beings, to our essence, to what we're experiencing right now. Letting your being let you know what comes
Mm.
next, whether that's to look to your right or take a sip of water or offer yourself something fun and nourishing after this. Yeah. Always an invitation for loving remembrance. If anything came through with that transmission, would love to hear. Feeling so good.
Thank you. Definitely feeling a lifting of the heart.
Yeah.
Mwah. Yeah, like this picture of, I think, the heart on the scale in the afterlife. I believe that's, forgot what theology is, the belief of the afterlife where your heart is measured on a scale, with a feather on the other side. And if it
Mhm.
is lighter than or equal, then you're good. If it's heavier, then like, oof, what you got in there? And I just feel like this was a very clearing practice. Like I feel the lightness of the heart left.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Me too. Me too. Yay. Well,
I
thank you
feel
all.
so, thank you, thank you. I feel so thankful to be able to do this work with you, this energetic movement, and to feel it. To deepen those connections with our beings and the blessings that we have been given. Mm. And I'm looking forward to this support call that we are having on the third Sunday of the month. Yay.
Yeah. Sending you lots of love. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out all the information below. And we'll see y'all for our next conversation and transmission.